Hey everybody, Mike Slifer here in the First Alert Forecast Center. It's 9:30 on a Tuesday, which means it's time for another First Alert Weather Extra, 10 straight minutes of weather content. And we're going to begin talking a bit more about heat, but then we'll shift our attention to the rain chances as we get into the middle of the week. Uh, and what we're expecting as we get into the first weekend of August. That's right, July coming to an end here in just a couple of days. We made it to 96 officially for both the Hartford area and for Bridgeport, tying the record of 96 in both locations. Pretty long-standing record for the Hartford area, 92 years, set back in 1933. Not quite as long for Bridgeport, where the record was set in 2002. High temperatures statewide made it to at least 90 degrees. Hartford Brainerd was the warm spot at 98, officially 97 in Danbury and Meriden. We made it to 95 in Putnam and Willimantic and at Tweed, New Haven. This also means we are 2 days at or above 90. When we do it again tomorrow, that will bring our third heat wave of 2025. It also brings our 90-degree day tally to 17. We've had 10 days at or above 90 so far this month. Tomorrow will make it 11, so just about a third of the month at or above 90 for this July. We'll have to see what August has in store. Certainly looks a bit cooler as we begin the new month. And looking ahead to tomorrow, 98 is the record for the Hartford area. We are forecasting 96. Bridgeport's record is 95. We are forecasting 94. If the storms end up a bit more isolated in nature or perhaps don't develop until later in the day, we could even potentially challenge records again in both locations tomorrow. But as it stands right now, we are not forecasting record warmth, certainly within striking distance. Heat advisories do continue through tomorrow. The heat risk for tomorrow, the heat risk map that is showing moderate to major impacts across most of Connecticut, especially favoring parts of central and western Connecticut. So it'll be another day where we have temperatures that climb into the 90s, but it feels even hotter. Heat index values approaching 90 degrees by 10 in the morning, very similar to what we saw today, peaking in the 95 to 100 degree range, perhaps even over 100 for some communities. So tomorrow's another First Alert weather day. Isolated storms are in the mix tomorrow too. That'll separate it a bit from what we experienced today. By Thursday, it's all about scattered storms, bringing potentially some heavy rain and some flooding, especially later in the day on Thursday. So outdoor plans could be affected both days. Travel could even be affected on Thursday. We'll take you through the isolated thunderstorm risk here tomorrow. First Alert Futurecast showing a pretty dry start to the day, but by 2 or 3 in the afternoon, we start to see this isolated development. Again, we're not expecting anything too impactful right off the bat, but certainly enough that we could start to see some issues pop up if you have plans to be outdoors. And then we'll see mainly isolated coverage through the evening, dissipating as we approach sunset, and especially points beyond, and then we're dry into the start of the day on Thursday. The Storm Prediction Center is still highlighting Connecticut in a level 1 risk for severe weather tomorrow. So some of the storms, while they will be isolated in nature, could be perhaps a bit strong, maybe becoming a bit gusty, or perhaps bringing some hail. So we'll be watching that very closely. We will be the first to alert you if anything becomes strong. Also, you can get updates based on your location from the free First Alert weather app that will certainly let you know what is going on across the state. You can track storms right from the interactive radar. Great thing to have on hand. And those storms start to develop out ahead of this cold front that will be dropping into that very hot and humid air mass. As the front starts to push farther south, it slows down. And this is going to really bring about the unsettled weather for Thursday. An area of low pressure will start to move along that front. As it does so, it begins lifting closer to southern New England, and by 4 p.m. Thursday, we're really starting to see rain ramp up and intensify. We'll be tracking rain and rumbles of thunder throughout the afternoon and evening Thursday, perhaps even overnight right into Friday morning. And we do expect some improvement later Friday as high pressure rapidly starts to move in. So the faster this front can clear, the more likely it is we see at least drier time on Friday. And we are expecting that right now, and it's going to lead to some spectacular weather over the weekend. For the excessive rainfall outlook here on Thursday, all of Connecticut and southern New England highlighted in the level 2 risk. So this is a bit of an uptick, increased coverage from what we saw earlier today. This is some new data coming into the First Alert Forecast Center. And it's not much of a surprise because we're still watching the bullseye of heaviest rain jump around a bit. The American model keeps that 2 to 4 inch range in the lower Hudson Valley, closer to the New York City metro area, whereas the European model brings it into parts of Connecticut and southern New England. And this is typical to see this at this lead time where we start to see these differences, and we will fine-tune the forecast over the next several days. So be sure to stick with us. It is a First Alert weather day either way because we expect the impacts from rain, which could be quite heavy at times. By Thursday, you'll note the heat risk map really starting to show some big improvement, and that's because temperatures fall in a big way by the end of the week. Let's take you over to First Alert Live Radar, Connecticut's only live radar right now, scanning clear and dry. Nothing to track within our state's borders, and that's the case across all of the Northeast and New England. Pretty dry, some rain in parts of West Virginia right now, but that's far enough away from us that we do not have to worry. It's still 94 in New York right now, still 90 in Philly, 85 in Hartford. Dew points are in the upper 60s and lower 70s, so we're muggy right on the cusp of really becoming oppressively humid, and we've started to see more of those 70-degree dew points across parts of Connecticut. So you can really feel just how damp it is outside, how humid it is outside. Temperatures for many towns 80 to 85 with some upper 70s mixed in. And this is up compared to yesterday by several degrees, especially say from Waterbury to Chester, 5 degrees warmer right now through Meriden too. And we are still dealing with some poor air quality in parts of Connecticut. Sensitive groups could be a bit of an issue for, say, Stratford and Milford into West Haven, and then again from Branford through Guilford and Madison to Clinton all the way to Westbrook and Old Lyme. So that's where you see those orange shadings. This is for people with pre-existing conditions, but earlier today it was downright unhealthy for anybody, and this is due to high concentrations of ground-level ozone, which we do tend to see in setups like this where it becomes very hot and humid. Here's a live look on our iCam in Torrington tonight. Pretty quiet across northwestern Connecticut. Dry roads on our iCam here in Waterbury. Good visibility, 82 degrees in the Brass City right now. We'll take you live to Winter Locks, where it's currently 85, dry, and a live look at our iCam in Middletown, overlooking the Connecticut River. Pretty quiet. We'll take you now to New Haven, overlooking the Green, 85 in the Elm City, and we'll finish it off with a look at New London right now. 77 degrees, winds out of the west at 6 miles per hour. So temperatures don't really fall too quickly here, meaning that we'll settle between 70 and 75 for most towns tonight. Some upper 60s mixed in across northwestern Connecticut. Temperatures through the Litchfield Hills tomorrow about 90 to almost 95 degrees. We're going 96, look at that, Windsor, 96 in Ellington, 95 in Glastonbury tomorrow, 94 in Hebron, 94 in Plainfield, 95 in Danielson. So it's going to be another hot day, feeling even hotter than this. With a bit of an onshore wind, some upper 80s popping up in southeastern Connecticut, but only along the immediate shoreline for Salem, Jewett City, Colchester. We're back in the mid-90s. Mid-90s throughout Middlesex County until you get to the shoreline towns, and that will be the case throughout the greater New Haven area too. Even in New Haven proper, we're expecting to reach the mid-90s, 93 in Milford, 95 in Wallingford. So it is going to be hot, and it is going to be humid, making it feel like it's 95 to 100, if not a bit higher. And look at the dramatic drop in temperature. Highs only in the 70s on Thursday. The flooding risk is certainly there, rumbles of thunder in the mix, maybe some lingering rain early Friday before we actually start to see some more improvement. 73 by Friday afternoon, inland 71 along the shoreline. Unseasonably cool for August 1st. Typically we would see highs in the mid-80s. Saturday and Sunday look awesome. Low humidity, full sunshine, seasonable temps for this time of year, especially by Sunday. We're closer to average. And Monday and Tuesday next week still looking pretty quiet. Now, our average high drops to 80 degrees by September 2nd. So just to put it in perspective, the temperatures that we'll see the first couple days of August will be more reminiscent of parts of September. Saturday, 80 degrees and sunny. That is, again, basically what you'd expect on September 2nd, not August 2nd. And the dew points just drop off dramatically here. So we'll see pleasant air return for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And in the meantime, we still deal with the humidity. Today, we added hot day to our July calendar, the third hottest day we've seen so far this year, believe it or not, at 96 degrees. And we did not add any rain, but that will change as we close out the month of July, since we are again expecting the wettest weather to arrive on Thursday, July 31st. Just to give you a rundown of what we're expecting, or rather what's typical of early August, 85 is the average high for August 1st. Average low is 63. By the end of the month, the average high falls to 81. Average low falls to 59. And we typically see 4.21 inches of rain in the month of August. Not what we're expecting as we get into the month of August. While there will be some rain early on Friday, temps will only be in the lower half of the 70s. Lower 80s Saturday, 80 to 85 on Sunday. Monday, 80 to 85. Back into the mid 80s statewide by Tuesday next week. But it looks like a stunning stretch of weather. We just have to make it through the next couple of days. Tomorrow, another day of dangerous heat and humidity. And by Thursday, as we track scattered thunderstorms and increasing risk for heavy rain, especially later in the day, flooding is unfortunately back on the table. So 2 more first alert weather days to go. We will continue to break them down for you as we progress through the rest of the week. Join Scott Haney and Jill Gilardi tomorrow morning. Mark Dixon and I will have much more for you coming up later on tonight. We'll see you over on the wax in 20 minutes. Have a great night, everyone.